joining us, and that's perfectly fine. I was thinking about it this morning. This will be yet another one of those times that someone says, who would have guessed a year ago? But who would have guessed a year ago when we were struggling with the decision? Do we go ahead and have this with Heidi Gelzer? Can we maybe just delay it 2 weeks? Because probably things will be okay if we can wait it out a couple weeks and the Marriott will let us reschedule and then, well, surely, I mean, we'll be back together in June, right? And here we are. So I never would have believed, as no one would have, that we would be marking a year of missing being together in C4. But in the strangest of ways, my Bible study classes said we sort of feel closer than we ever have. We haven't missed a week. And I think it's because we're focused. And so in a way, I love these director meetings, and I'm going to miss them in a small way. When we go back to being in person, I'm going to enjoy hugging you, but I just like seeing your faces, and I feel like we're all focused and we're looking at each other, and there's something kind of special about that too. And the other opportunity that has been given to us is to meet with people just like Caterina Harris Earl this morning. And I don't know that we would have been able to get Caterina to come to Kansas City for no good reason other than just to be with us. So it's wonderful to have her here with us virtually. And I have asked Nerissa Orr is going to give us a little bit of background information about Caterina. Caterina, have you ever worked in Kansas City before? I don't.
Just a couple of times. I had one superstar there, so I've visited there for Mary Kay work a couple of times. And okay. My dad, was an aircraft engineer, and he took one of the things, his team took care of the Oakland Raiders plane. And so a few times we flew there for football games when I was a kid. So,
okay.
So I have fond memories.
Well, Nerissa is going to share some accolades. Nerissa is in the same sorority as Caterina, and so they have that bond. And so we're going to let her. So Nerissa, take it away.
Inviting Nerissa to unmute.
Boom. Did I unmute?
Yes.
Okay. Oh my gosh. I was so honored when Amy asked me to introduce you. I was like, because we've never met officially, but I have followed you, and to know that we're sorors is just like amazing. So here is a bit of what Caterina has done. Caterina began her Mary Kay business in February 1991 while working full-time and pursuing a master's degree at USC. You guys won last night too. Y'all beat the Jayhawks. So she became a sales director in 1992, and she earned over $5,000 in commissions her first month as a sales director, and also as a Fabulous 50s director. Her unit has retailed over $11 million, and her highest year was over $742,000 in retail sales. Get it, girl. She's earned 14 free cars and 12 pink Cadillacs. And for these accomplishments, Caterina has earned over 30 carats of diamonds. Mary Kay has taken her on world-class trips all around the world, and I love watching you and following you guys as you go. Some of her favorite places have been to Australia, Sweden, the Greek Isles, China, England, Spain, Italy, Argentina, and France. Caterina debuted as one of the top 200 women in our entire company of over 3 million worldwide. She is the 24th African-American National Sales Director and the first African-American Sales Director to debut west of Texas. Her highest combined income is over $25,000 in 1 month. She has worked Mary Kay for 21 years as a single mom with no children. I thought this was so phenomenal. On 12/12/12 at 12/12. Now, was that AM or PM, Caterina?
12 p.m. at Gloria Mayfield Bank's Atlanta mansion.
I remember seeing that. She married the man of her dreams, whose cousin is a Mary Kay sales director. And I think that was connected through a skincare class, wasn't it? Or something like that.
We were DIT sisters. We met Mary Kay Ash the same day.
Oh my
21 years later, I married her cousin.
So everything comes out of a starter kit, she says. She is proudly married to Dr. Anthony Earl. Caterina loves working in full-time ministry with Anthony, planning churches and equipping pastors and church leaders globally. Caterina is a college graduate with a degree in economics and political analysis. She is the national sales director of the Solid as a Rock national area. She's earned over $2 million in career earnings. So please join me in welcoming from Chicago, Illinois, and Brentwood, California, my Sora, and love her, National Sales Director, Caterina Harris Earl.
Wow, this is so cool. This is so cool. I'm so grateful for the time. Thank you, Amy and Roxy and everyone, and absolutely Narisa. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The only thing I'll request afterwards is tell me the designer of your glasses, because I'm looking for the perfect clear glasses, and I think that's my shape. So I think
I got you.
So make sure you give that to me. Passionate, powerful, disciplined, and fun. My life is so rich because of God's Son. I share Mary Kay with women of quality, and that is how you claim the position as an NSD, leading women of purpose with a vision and with a plan. With 10 brand new sales directors on the seminar virtual stage, we will stand looking sugar sharp and fine in our national sales director suits. The freedom, the flexibility others dream of, and did they tell you about all the loot? We will not rest. We will join the best. The path has been laid, and the mission is also very clear. We are stepping into that diamond circle position this year, for it is our season and it is our day. A fresh anointing is truly flowing my and your way. The best is yet to come, on that you can bet, and you ain't seen nothing yet. I am that pink Escalade driving now, and Diamond Circles driving, National Sales Director Caterina Harris Earl from Chicago, Illinois, and Brentwood, California. And I'm excited to be here today. It is so cool to sit here and be with all of you. And Jill, I didn't know you were going to be here, so I'm so super excited that you are here in the house. So let me just get clarity. Are most of the Jill, is this your area, some Thetford area, lots of Go Give, lots of Mary Kay National area? Fill me in.
I'd love to just claim them all as my own, because these women are amazing. But I would say probably mostly Mary Kay National area, wouldn't you guys say? And then some Jan's, some mine, like you said. And yeah, but lots of powerful women. We're excited to have you, Caterina.
Awesome. Awesome. You look great, girl. Well, I just want to share with you, God has given me a lot to share. And my prayer is that the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart will be acceptable, and that the word would pierce you right where is needed to cause you to pivot or shift in areas that would support you in a quantum leap between now and June 30th. And that this would happen through inspiration and not through perspiration. We are very familiar with running to the finish line with our tongue hanging out. We know how to do that. We've learned how to do that. And I'm here to declare that we are in a new season, that things are coming to us, not effortlessly, but with less effort, with intention, focus, passion, drive, grit, and most importantly, with your with just understanding and getting into the mind of God and what He has for you in this season, that things can happen for you and not to you. Some of us through this season have gotten bitter, and some have gotten better. Some have been the victim, some have been the victor, some have been whiners, and many of us, we have become warriors. Many have gotten angry, and we have become advocates. So every one of us has gone through a test, and we've come out with a testimony. We all have experienced this mess that we have made a message, and every one of us has been discouraged, and we've gone to determined. And so there is ministry in this pain that we have experienced, that we have turned into purpose. You know, Abraham Lincoln was an average lawyer in Springfield, Illinois, before this great crisis happened that caused him to rise. And so one of the things I want you to say to yourself is put your hand over your heart. I'm a techie, so normally in California, in my office, I'm sitting with 3 screens. So normally I would see my face on one screen because it's just make sure I don't have anything going on in my nose or my mouth or whatever. And then I'd see all your faces on another screen, and then my notes would be on another screen. So I have to confess, I'm looking at my notes and I can't see you guys, which bugs me. So I'll pivot as much, but that's just my world. I'm used to working with multiple screens, but I want you to put your hand over your heart and just say, I am not behind.
I am not behind.
I am not ahead.
I'm not ahead.
I am exactly where God wants me to be.
I am exactly where God wants me to be.
And by that, I don't mean on the scoreboard, because we are not the scoreboard. Many of us are ahead on the scoreboard. I'm ahead on the scoreboard, not as far along as I wanted to be based on the momentum we had at the beginning of this season. But in terms of where you are, it's exactly where God wants and needs you to be. And so I want you to go just reflect and pat yourself on the back on how we've gone from perturbed, disturbed, but not deterred, how we have pivoted, how we've prayed, and how we've performed through this, how we've dealt with pandemic, protest, and politics, and how this has been a platform for us, a whole new platform to not just be in survival mode, but reinventing ourselves. So we've gotten to this point. And the beautiful thing about us as leaders is leaders are comfortable with the uncomfortable. We're comfortable with the uncomfortable. And I know some of us, after going through what we've experienced over this past year, we just need time to exhale and breathe. Well, am I the only one who had to? One of the things I'm going to share with you are some of the things that made a difference for me. And one of the things that I had to do consistently was remind myself to breathe. Like, just breathe. Caterina, just breathe. How many of us felt like we were going a mile a minute and then we were dead stop? And then we're going a mile a minute and then we're dead stop. I am sharing with you what you already know. Brick and mortar is out of order. I literally could cry as I landed in Chicago last night. I posted a picture on my street. I can see Sears Tower, Willis Tower from here. And as one of my husband's spiritual sons, who is Nicholas from Greece, picked us up from the airport, he was talking and filling us in with everything. And then he said the worst thing ever. Macy's on State Street has closed down. Now, if you've ever come to Chicago, if you've ever gone to New York and you've shopped at Macy's in New York, or you've ever shopped at Macy's on State Street, I mean, I started hyperventilating. Like, it is one of my favorite, seemed like 12-story stores. You know, it used to be Robinson May. Oprah talked about it all the time. But you guys, this is a state of the times. Macy's, one of the largest, I think it's the second or third largest store in our country, has made the decision to close down. We are, this is a season like never before, as Nathan declared it. I want to share that when I was sitting in January, we all were sitting at Leadership Conference, and Laura Beitler did her speech on disruption. She had no idea that she was giving a prophetic word, because the disruption that she thought was taking place was very different from the disruption that we all now know took place. And so I know you've heard it. I'm sure you've heard it through pulpits. I'm sure you've heard it in all different places, but I want you just to really understand that the wealth that has been stored up for you is being released. It has been released. And so through this law of realization, you can't materialize what you don't realize. But I want you just to understand and say, write down, type in your notes, however you do it, that I am claiming what God has for me. Because when we look all throughout scripture, we can see that what is promised is not always claimed. Sometimes it's aborted. And so it's critical that we see we are called not just to transform lives, but we're transforming leaders. We are building leaders of leaders. We just happen to call them red jackets. We just happen to call ourselves directors and national sales directors. We haven't just been waiting for this all of our life. We've been preparing for this all of our life. We are prepared. Mary Kay did not make you a winner. It just gave you a platform. And so right now, this moment is what is literally causing a movement. And it's a movement, not just in Mary Kay, but a movement actually in the earth. And so I promise not to preach the whole time, but this is just who I am and how God has given it to me, that what has taken place is a universal judgment. And whenever we see in scripture a universal judgment, it comes for one reason, and that is to return for God to return his people to him. Yes, it's judgment of everyone, but it first starts, the first place God starts is with his own children. Every system of the world has been judged, literally shut down. Finally, it was divinely permitted from the throne of heaven. And so the ultimate objective is restorative and not punitive. It's not judgment, 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 damnation, 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 but to bring forth a greater fragrance to him. And we just happen to be in this business of beautifying women. We are called to be the light of God. Now, the difference is the world and other businesses have been spending time catching up with this. And this is what we already were doing. So this is why God has had his hand on our company. As a result, time is shortened. Everything is moving more quickly. And so I need you to expect that what God has for you is coming to you quickly, 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 quickly. This is me passing you a virtual bonus, okay? So as women, we are just so critical in what God is doing in the earth and how we are giving moms. Every mom needs a moment, okay? Not just a moment, but a moment. We're giving moms an opportunity to look. It's the reason that 2 million women, I think is the number, have left the sales force, because they're looking for opportunities to produce an expected fruit that hasn't been coming forth through their current work situation. And so here we are, right, ready for this. And so I wanted to start and talk there, because we're not, the beauty of this is we don't do this from a position of pride. Wherever there's pride, there's always demonic activity. We do this from a position of humbleness, from meekness, from lowliness. Even the way Mary Kay, even the way she made this marketing plan is the money, as Carol Anton always said, is the measure of the pleasure that we send into other people's lives. Just so you understand a little bit about me, I come from a nonprofit background. When I laid my head down on the pillow at night, I felt like I was making a difference in other people's lives, but it wasn't all the way working for me. As you heard, my dad was an aircraft engineer. And so we would go to Japan and we'd go to all these exotic places for spring break instead of going to the Grand Canyon or, Vegas or up the street. And I had this amazing life. And then on this nonprofit income, I was like, how is this going to work? And I wasn't married. The man on the white horse didn't know my name, my address, or my phone number. In the nonprofit world, those are the highest educated, brokest people you'll ever meet. So I had a $50,000 undergraduate degree from the oldest women's college west of, actually on the whole Western region, Mills College. And I needed to go to grad school to get my master's degree just to be able to compete in my industry. And so that's how I ended up getting another $60,000 in student loan debt pursuing my graduate degree. Something was not working, and I decided I needed to pivot. I was, God reads our male successes in the details. And so I was having a conversation with a male friend of mine, coworker of mine, and that is when he introduced me to my recruiter. I wanted someone to come out and teach the young women that I got paid to help them get jobs. I looked at their image and they were a hot mess. They needed to pull their blouses up and their skirts down. And I just was like, I need help. And he said, I have a homegirl who does this Mary Kay thing. And she came, and I'll share more of my story on the evening portion. But she did our job description. We read a book, square two, flip a page, didn't sell anything, but she offered me a facial. And so that took me from October, all that following up. Finally, in January, I had my appointment, and in February, I recruited. Little did I know that I was recruiting into a unit that would my director was first line to Shirley Hutton. So Shirley Hutton, for those of you who are not old school, was number one in the company. After Shirley retired, then I was in Marilyn Welly's area. After Marilyn Welly retired, then I was in Anita Mallory's area. And I've always grown up with Gloria Mayfield Banks. So I've had this level of excellence, inner circle, 3 number one areas. And I knew that I didn't know immediately that this would be the career of a lifetime. But as I started to see what I wanted and prayed for in my life and what was taking place in Mary Kay, I started to see how they were coinciding together. And it's been my life's work for so long. I love working in full-time ministry with my husband, but I will tell you, as you know, I get to do even more ministry in Mary Kay. We're constantly ministering to women, right? So you are a part of God's strategy. How long would it take for him to produce another you? And so once we get this clarity, y'all, is power. And when you know your outcome and you're clear on your why, it will pull you. And then what begins to pull you in this other direction is this fear of all of the muck that tries to get in the way. And I'm going to give you some things that have helped me to navigate through, not just the fear of this past year, but that's just put on top of whatever the other things that have held us back. And we all have BS, belief systems, and things that we're constantly working through. Fear is imagination undirected. And so it's so important that we live in our imagination and not in our memory. I live near downtown Chicago, so I always tell folks, no matter how quiet I'm in, you may hear a siren or some large truck going by because it's just the nature of being in the city. So fear is totally an illusion. If you change your story, you can change your life. So I want to just encourage you to be kind to yourself as in this time, as you work through inspiration, not just perspiration. A lot of times, if you ever are in that mode of beating yourself up, even just at the end of the day, I should have done this. I didn't get this done. I didn't get this done. Things that men don't have as much of a challenge doing, but as women, we overestimate what we can do in a day and underestimate what we could do in this quarter. And we often put so much pressure on ourselves. But I want to challenge you just to move and operate based on your heart, like really having your heart be tuned into the mind of God. One of the things that I studied is the heart develops before the brain. Thought this was really interesting when you look at how God, how he designed us, that the heart would develop before the brain. And so I'm a DC personality. So it's easy for me to go to my brain and to think. But honestly, everything that you need is within you. And if you allow your heart to lead you, it will tell you how to connect with that woman, how to share with her what she needs to hear in order to recruit her, how to empower your next leader, how to walk through whatever circumstances you're walking through. I'm going to give you 3 mandates of leadership, just 3 things that are kind of patterns that you see around leadership, and it relates to what we've gone through during this season. The first thing is that leaders see things as they are, but they don't see them worse than they are. As challenging as this time has been, we have been blessed to see the possibilities. All right. So we first tell the truth. We find the blessings in everything. And what's wrong is always available, but leaders see what's possible. So even in this time, I want to just challenge you. One of the things that I began to do for the 1-year anniversary of COVID is to write down all of the blessings. I know this sounds like we're just, it's a law of attraction, of expectation, is just take a moment, pause, and write down all the blessings. You won't even be able to write them down in one sitting because there have been so many blessings during this time. Leaders, the second thing is leaders see it. First, they see things as they are, but then leaders also see it better than it is. That is our vision and our energy that helps us find answers. And then leaders see it as it is, but never worse than it is. And so we are a part of what is called the K economy. Put a K on your paper, the K economy. I don't know if anybody has heard about this. Has anybody heard about the K economy? It is what's happening in our country. I don't know about you, but in ministry, we see some of the, not just in America, but all over the globe. And we have seen so much loss. And so not just loss of life, but loss of income and just real challenge and destruction. And we have also seen so much growth. It seems almost like sometimes there's two separate worlds that's taking place. I don't know if, I wish I could see y'all if anybody's nodding their head. And I'm telling you, when I saw this K economy, I was like, oh, wow. The K economy, the upward part of the K, are those that have experienced an upward trajectory of their income. They are, their careers have not been in jeopardy. And in many cases, their income has increased, okay? The bottom part of the K are those that have experienced, they've lost their job or their industry is very much in jeopardy. You know, it would go without saying, every one of us was just devastated by what took place in Colorado. I could cry just thinking about it. And my prayer this morning after the natural places to go for prayer was just think about all the people who just had a job in that grocery store that probably will close down. So the easiest way to summarize this K economy is the upward part of the K are people that make money with their fingerprints. And the bottom part of the K are people that make money with their footprints. And this is what's taking place in our world right now. Brick and mortar is out of order. If a person has to carry their body to a particular location to make transactions in order to create income, their industry is in jeopardy. We're grateful for doctors and nurses. That's probably one industry that's not the same, not as in jeopardy. But when you just go over and over and over, you could think of all the industries like the Macy's on State Street. If you can make money with your fingerprints, my biggest concern was, imagine being gone for a year and you leave your house to your 30-year-old. When I say couldn't find anything, my office was a wreck. That's why I'm not in my office. I was like, so the internet was a little bit choppy. I was like, we have got to fix this internet. All right. So praise God for internet. But all I need is my fingertips, this device. Are y'all getting me? We can work anywhere. And so we're not the only industry that has experienced this, but this has helped me so much to understand what's taking place. Okay, so what this means when I say that when we understand spiritually what's happening, what God has done, and then we understand economically what's happened, and then we understand our industry, and then we understand as women, we are truly a part of God's strategy. My husband teaches it all the time, I believe from Psalm 68, where he says, I promise you, if Eve was a part of the fall in the beginning, how God is going to use women to restore. And so when you look at all those different angles of what's taking place, this is why now is the time for massive action. Massive action, focus action, that you, how many people you can impact, how many people you can shift. When you bring them in to this Mary Kay fold, we have an opportunity to impact their lives in so many ways. One of my favorite quotes that I always say is, when you change the life of a woman, you change the life of the world. And so I know I'm not teaching book, coach, sell, recruit. I want you to understand that just trust your hunches. When you're scrolling on Facebook and a hunch tells you, tap that woman, send her a private message. Trust your hunches that literally things are right at our fingertips, but we've got to move. We've got to plant seeds and expect to reap a harvest. And we've got to create some measurement of success. If you don't measure it, you can't manage it. So for example, what I'm measuring every day is I want to touch 20 people a day for the goal of Diamond Circle. So seriously, I have just 20 pennies on my desk, and my goal is just to move the pennies from one. I actually put quarters this time. So to move them from one jar to the other jar, I needed something super simple because of all that I've got going on in my life right now. I needed something super simple just to track. So I'm impacting 20 people for Diamond Circle. That may be between Offspring sales directors, between those in my unit, and between those I need to book, between a new consultant. Some days it might be, and it's touching 20. So it's not always 20 live conversations. Sometimes it's a messenger. Sometimes it's through text, but just 20 and 5 notes. Just that simple thing. I can make a long to-do list. Can we not all make a long to-do list? But it's not just the to-do list, it's the to-be list. So I say to myself, Caterina, who do I need to be to manifest Diamond Circle? And I know the biggest essence is duplicating who I am and depositing that into other people. And what I can do that's manageable is 20 a day. So it's very simple. I can measure it. I've done that same thing with my consultants and said, if they will just touch 20 a day for the purpose of booking, when they touch 20 some kind of way, whether it's Messenger, Instagram, however they're reaching them, they'll connect with about 8, and that's how they can get 2 bookings a day. It's manageable for everyone. And some that are doing even less, they can turn it into 10. Okay. This month, you guys, will pay you whatever you ask. And so the biggest plight of a child is the untapped potential of their mama. And so I'm asking you guys, I haven't been blessed to give birth to children, but I have 14 grandchildren. Okay. So I have to be the best me for every one of them. And so I ask you this question. Where are you located right now? What's your GPS in relationship to the destination that you want for June 30th? Where are you located? Are you right on track to get there and arrive at that destination? Are you off course? But the good news is you can correct and get back on track. Like, what's your GPS? Ask yourself that question. Be honest with where you are. Okay, remember, you're not behind, you're not ahead, you're exactly where he needs you to be. But what does that, from where you are, where do you need to go so that you're sure that you will arrive at that destination on time, if not early? Okay, we're not just following these to-do lists, we're following a to-be list. What is one thing that you could focus on every day? That if you did that daily, or it might be several things that you did throughout the week, that it would create the success that you want. I often teach directors and say, you know, we have asked our consultants, forget COVID, that's a whole other conversation, but we ask consultants all the time to exponentially step out on faith. When someone starts Mary Kay and we ask them to make a $3,000 investment, and we ask them to talk to people they don't know, and we ask them to, you know, to step out of their comfort zone all the time, are you willing to take that amount of risk yourself for your goal? Because the only thing we're really risking is our belief that this marketing plan works and that it can work for us. There's two types of time. This is another spiritual insight, but there is Chronos time and there's Kairos time. So Chronos time is a time on the clock. So right now in Chicago, it's Tuesday, March 23rd at 10:39 a.m. 11:39 a.m. I think y'all are on Central Time. So that's a time on a clock. Once it's gone, it's gone. A Kairos moment is a moment at seminar 2012 where I was standing in the arena and Gloria said to me, would you be willing to fly to my house in 3 weeks? Now I could look on my clock, on my watch, and see that as Chronos, but that actually was a Kairos moment, because I could have said no, but to Gloria, what did I say? Yes. And little did I know that my saying yes to that would be how I met my husband. Because from there, I heard the Holy Spirit say, go to Chicago. And from there, I was standing at the Hilton in Chicago speaking, 500 people in the room, and there with Beverly Rogers, who is a sales director. And I saw a man peep through the side door, like what's happening in there. And he stepped in and I literally felt the Holy Spirit leap and say, that's your husband. I'm like, what? And I kept talking, $100 to get started, come on down. That was August 28th and December 12th of the same year, we were married. Get excited. Kairos moment. Now I share that with you because I see your mouth open. It's like, what? Some people say it happened fast, but I share my love story so much because my love story is the bamboo tree story. I was 40, doggone 5, single, no kids. It did not happen fast. Okay, don't even try it. Okay, people say, how are you so sure? Baby, I've been praying and waiting for a long time. Okay. It didn't happen fast, it happened slow. But that's an example. It's a great example of a Kairos moment. So what I'm here to tell you guys is when it feels like it's not happening and you're just going through your regular day, just walking and operating in obedience, and you're just listening, God, who should I impact? What can I control today? Where do I go? You just let your heart lead you, but you're clear where your GPS is. Okay, we're not just wandering around, but we're just trusting the process. When you do this, things are going to happen that are going to be Kairos moments. A person you're going to meet, a person that is going to call. I mean, it's just crazy. Have we all experienced it? In June, I always have a couple emeralds that fall out the sky. I have one phone number that's my original number that I kept from when I was a consultant for one reason only, because it seems like every year around June 10th to June 20th, somebody from 30 years ago calls that number and says, I've been looking for you. And I'm like, well, here I am. And people think that it is luck. No, it's 30 years of planting seeds, and one day, boom, it happens. I have a third of my national area is in Jackson, Mississippi. And it was one day in the hair salon with perm in my hair, sitting there with an old school recruiting notebook and Kairos moment. Will Ross says to me, what's that you're reading? As a result, that night I ended up standing in glass because his girlfriend's car had been broken into, in the Oakland Hills, waiting on AAA to come, ended up recruiting her. She went on to recruit Lisa Tavison. She actually also recruited Kamala Harris's sister because she was there from Oakland and she was her best friend. She was just a consultant in kind of name only, but she went on to recruit Lisa Tavison, who recruited Lisa Prater. And from that, 1/3 of my national area came. And Jill has those stories too. We all have those stories. Kairos moments, y'all. Don't doubt. You are in the right place, and what God has for you is for you. Okay. So we're going to work. Yes, we're operating through inspiration, not perspiration, but we got to hustle. All right. There's some hustle that's there. I'm not implying that there's no work involved. I am a hard worker, baby. I love hard work, but high performers only spend about 60% of their time working on the big things. So the key is knowing what the big thing is. And sometimes when you're working and operating this way, it can be a little stressful, okay? Because let's just say we have a deadline, we've got lots happening, and there's a rhythm to this business. And these last 4 months, as we start going, it can be a little stressful. But the opposite of stress is not peace. The opposite of stress is good stress. So stress is okay. It's the good thing. Okay. You want to, it's pushing you, it's stretching you. And so I want to share with you this, this success cycle, because we got to keep it really simple. Complexity is the enemy of execution. So it's just really, you want to get in momentum and stay in momentum. And so this is what I'm doing right now. I'm teaching from, not from theory. I'm teaching from what I'm doing right now, because there was a momentum that we had, and then there was a little lull, and now there is a new momentum that's taking place. And so this is from Tony Robbins, his success principle. It's 4 things. It's belief plus potential plus action plus results. So it's belief. Every day, you've got to do something to work on your belief. The amount of belief you have determines the amount of potential you can tap into. Your belief, you've got to start your belief strong. So 2 things that I'm using, the I Am app. Every day it pops up, and it just pops up randomly, and it says an affirmation. It's always right on time. And then the Think Up app. The Think Up app allows me to put my affirmation. This is old school when we used to have cassettes, but I put my affirmation in here. Whoops, hold on. That's a generic affirmation. If we're ever changing this, hold on. Trying to get to. I'm trying to play it for you. It looks like the app did an update. Where's my thing? Okay. All right. Don't you love this? Oh, I have 2 Think Up apps. I was about like, where'd my affirmation go? Okay, here we go. So it's just my affirmation. It's going to be a great morning because I am full of the goodness of God. I am full of passion. I am full of mercy. I am full of righteousness. I am full of love.
I am fully prepared. I am healthy and fit. I am a leader. Caterina, you are an Inner Circle National Sales Director. I am full of faith. I am rewarded because I diligently seek Him. I am obedient. I am full of promise. I am an heir to His throne. I am fruitful. I am full of life.
So the great thing about this app is you can write it. It's called Think Up. You can write it. You can put the music in the background. You can find, I used a song called Intentional, which I love. And I just got the what do we call it? Instrumental version. And so you can just grab some affirmations, pop it in there, and then you read it and it puts it over the music. Isn't that great? So every day you've just got to work on your belief, because your belief is going to give your potential. So you've got this focus, you know what you got to do, but now you got to get your booty to get in rhythm with what you wrote down. And, you know, it's like head, heart, mind, it's got to all be together. So your belief is going to determine your potential, and the potential, the amount of potential you have will tap into the action, and action, the amount of action you have will determine your results. And so this is how you create momentum. It's really simple. Belief, potential, action, results, belief, potential, action, results, belief, potential, action, results. You keep going. And it's just like you get in motion and you stay in motion, moving in the same direction toward that destination. And so now what we must do is we've got to become a master at duplication, because now we've got to duplicate ourselves. Yes, we can create through our fingerprints, but the reason that Jill and I are nationals is because we've duplicated ourselves. And so just simple, people say, how do I know who to work with? 3 questions I ask myself. Do I like her? Do I trust her? And can she book? Those are my 3 simple things. Do I like her? Do I trust her? And can she book? You know what? She might not, honestly, some of the things that I'm really, really old school, y'all. And so this whole season, I've had to work on perfectionism is one of the worst. It's just evil. Okay. I wanted, you got to do this. You got to go through the steps. You got to work full circle. You got to do this. Well, guess what? My biggest blessing dropped out of the sky. She became a director overnight, and she'll be in a Cadillac by the end of the year. It's just boom. She skipped all kind of steps. She just jumped over. Do I like her? Do I trust her? Can she book? That's the one thing I can't do for her. And so you don't just look for people that are the most seasoned. Don't just look for the people, and it's not just the folks you like, but you get what I'm saying. Does she have the Mary Kay heart? So these are some things you want to do with these type of women. You want to give them something. Number one is give them something to achieve quickly. So if you've already in the motion with this, that's great. If not, who can you have quick conversations with that you can give them something to achieve quickly? Just get them in motion. It makes them feel good. And when they feel good, they will work to win and not just work to work. Sometimes I'll even do, if someone's prize motivated, for example, I'll even do a let's make a deal. What I mean by let's make a deal is I'll give her a challenge and a special prize that is not even for everybody else. Okay. This might be 2, 3, 4, 5 people that I'm working with. The second thing is give a clear recognition for her. So give her this something quick that she can achieve and a clear way that she's going to be recognized. Okay. Ambitious women play to win. So you want to help them build fast and help them shine fast. I have found that there are women in my unit. As a matter of fact, this is how I move. Okay. I just heard the Holy Spirit just said Tamika Harvey. And so literally, I just go, Tamika Harvey's going to be one. She's been with me for 20 years. And when I say ain't done nothing, she probably had to do a new agreement 3 times. But out of the blue, she just called me. And so I hear the Holy Spirit say, Tamika Harvey, Tamika Harvey. So that means I need to touch her. She's one of the people I'm going to touch today. I don't know why, I don't know what, but I'm going to give her something to achieve quickly. I'm going to give her some clear recognition around it and help her to shine fast. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to point her to get into red. Reds, the benefit of the reds is they are your most loyal consultants. Some of them, yeah, we know they get in and out of red, but they will not quit. So I need you to believe that you can masterfully produce reds, even if you put her in red initially. Like, bring me the people to interview, and you move her in red. 15-minute interview appointments. I do a Calendly link, and they either schedule the appointments or she gets them on a three-way text, and I talk to them that way and schedule just 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes. Okay. The reds, these are all the benefits for reds. They love the recognition. When you have more reds, they will bring you more stars because the reds will be your stars. When you have reds, your production will increase because reds will produce just to stay in red. Okay, I challenge the reds to maintain that 2,000 minimum for their team. The reds are your amen corner. The reds are the ones we know that we use to train at our success meeting because they become the most relatable. Red jackets will also be the ones that can bring you your next superstar. When you have more reds, you will have more recruiters. The only way that you can hit 10 a month consistently is through a strong red jacket base. When you have reds, the director, you as the director will have more confidence. Reds give directors confidence. They make you feel good. Reds don't come from programs, y'all. They come from recognition. They come from the pride that you give them of being red in your unit and what that means. One of the things that I'm going to start to do, because Gloria did it and it worked really well in our Magic family, is to have, and something you guys might do collectively, where you tell the story of the reds. And so you pick different reds and let them tell their story. Just let people short little 10-minute lives where reds are telling their story because they're so relatable. Okay, so how do you get reds? You can build a red, you can repeat a red, you can go find a red. So build reds. Who in my unit are the reds that I'm going to build? You're going to work individually with her to build her into red. Who are the ones that have been in and out? And you can paint the picture and give it total focus and energy that you can repeat and get them back to red. And then who are the super bad ones? This is where the biggest belief comes, that you are the best recruiter and I can go and recruit my next red jacket. A woman's life changes every 90 days. So even if you talk to her recently, 6 months ago, for goodness sakes, now it's changing every 30 days, every 2 weeks. Who do you need to talk to again, whether she's in your unit or not in your unit? All right, focus is going to make a difference. We failed simply because of broken focus. A double-minded person cannot do the work. It causes us to fail. So let's really be focused here. Focus on the goal. So I'm going to shift and I want to talk about, I got several things, but I want to leave about 20 minutes for just questions and interacting. But one of the huge things that I've done very well is I have hired out my weaknesses so I could work on my strengths. And secondly, I've had to hire out some of my strengths. For example, I'm really good at technology. I'm really good at, I could do my newsletter. I can put it together. I'm really good in Canva. I'm really good at different things. But is that my calling? Is that the best thing? I make money with my fingerprints. So whatever my hand touches is what I'm going to produce. And so if I spend time letting my hands touch a newsletter, what I'm going to produce is a really good newsletter. What I want to produce is more people to put in the newsletter. So I'm going to give you a couple things that has really made a huge difference for me on time. Let's see, how to go from being a maintainer to a multiplier. I multiply leaders. It's what we do in our ministry. We multiply leaders, and it's what I do in Mary Kay. If you were to think of this, all the things that we have to do, and you think of a funnel. So just kind of draw this little funnel. Everything that I have to do goes in this funnel, and some things need to be eliminated. So just in the funnel, write elimination. Some things need to be automated, and some things need to be delegated. So if you have this funnel, and inside the funnel are all the things that are necessary for me to do, you have to ask yourself, what needs to be eliminated? What needs to be automated? And what needs to be delegated? If you, these are called the permissions, giving yourself 5 permissions. When you give yourself permission to eliminate something, you're giving yourself permission to ignore it. When you give yourself permission to automate something, you're giving yourself permission to invest in time so that you can automate that now. So in the long run, it's going to take you less time. So when you give yourself permission to eliminate something, you give yourself permission to ignore it. When you give yourself permission to automate something, you give yourself permission to invest time in that. When you give yourself permission to delegate it, you're giving yourself permission for it not to be done perfectly, for it to get done, because the newsletter always would be more perfect if I did it. It might not be perfect, because perfect is only according to my standard, right? Your standard, right? So it might be imperfect, but the fact that it gets done is there. And when the other thing you want to give yourself permission to do is give yourself permission to procrastinate. This is interesting. This is a time management tool. Is you want to procrastinate on purpose. Sometimes we hear an idea and we run with it immediately, but you want to put it through this funnel and say, should I eliminate it? Should I automate it? Should I delegate it? Or should I procrastinate it? Procrastination are the things that can be incomplete now because they're not the greatest calling of what I'm called to do right now. And so you want to look at what you need to concentrate on and what you need to procrastinate on. So eliminate means I'm not going to do it. Automate means it's going to happen automatically. Delegate means somebody else is going to do it. Then it comes to me. Am I going to concentrate on it or am I going to procrastinate on it? So you look at that. Now, here is where most people make decisions on how they're going to spend their time based on urgency and importance. Is it urgent? Well, when things happen that are urgent, we move on it. Is it important? But the multiplier, the difference between the maintainer and the multiplier, maintenance for your unit is you do what's urgent. Director, you kick in the last week of the month, got to make production, kick in. I got to qualify for my car. We've all been there. We get it. Is it important? It's star deadline. This is important. Okay. Urgent and important. It causes us to maintain. How do I multiply? We have to move to significance. Significance. So urgency is how soon does it matter? How soon does it matter? Thank God the tax deadline was moved from April 15th to May 15th, but we will get it done and hopefully I'll get it done early, so it won't be urgent. Importance. So urgency is how soon does it matter? Important is how much does it matter? But significant is how long does it matter? Because you are not just building for June 30th. You are building for your family's future. You are building your national area. And that is significance. So here is, I'm going to give you kind of two, I think, what are the two big bombshells? One of them I'll give you right now, so I don't forget it. The easiest way to get a Cadillac. Okay, I'm looking at you guys now. How many of you are not in a Cadillac and want a Cadillac? I just want to see. Okay, I'm gonna blow your mind. I think this is, I claim it as mine. Jill, if you know who said this, then tell me so I can stop lying. But you only get a couple of originals in Mary Kay, and then everything else is, it's only yours after you teach it for 30 years and you forget who said it. This is the formula for Cadillac. It's so simple. It's 10 stars, 2 quarters in a row. Follow with me. How many of you have heard that 300,000 is 30 stars? Have you heard that? How many of you have heard that 500,000 is 50 stars? Well, guess what? Cadillac is about 100,000 wholesale, which is about 200,000 retail, and that is 20 stars. And if you will give me 10 stars 2 consecutive quarters in a row, I will give you a Cadillac. And some of us have been at 3 or 4, and some of us have been at 5 or 8, but we just haven't crossed over to 10. And it's like, doggone it. If that's what I need, I'm about to focus on the significance of getting those additional stars. Did that free anybody? It's like, oh my gosh, I could do that. What if you totally focused on that? And I'm going to show you how you have the time to do that. Is you're going to look at what am I going to delegate or automate that is going to free me up for more time. Thanks, Tamara, for saying that. So this is one of the biggest things that's freed me. It's so simple, but it's called the 30X rule. I want you to take, back in the day, Linda Tupin's director boot camp, where we had to write down how we spend our time. If you've ever gone through that exercise, you look and say, now, forgive yourself, because I said that even the high ballers, shot callers only spend about 60% working on the, big focus goal. We all have these other things that we do with our time. But if you look at the things that really should be delegated, the reason that it's hard for me to delegate is because no one can do it like Caterina can. Or I can do it. It's only going to take me 5 minutes. It's only going to take me 10 minutes. It's only going to take me 20 minutes. I can do it. But this thing called the 30X rule, this is what the 30X rule is. I'm going to tell you what it's going to give you: a 733% return. Time is money. It's actually more important than money, because there's not a person on their deathbed who wanted more money versus more time. So the 30X rule is simply this. It's going to take sometimes as much as, it might not take this much, because depending on how well you hire, but it can take as much as 30 times to teach someone to do something to replace you. I'm going to show you how to use technology to make this even faster. But the 30X rule, so let me give you an example. If there's something, think of something that you do that takes you 5 minutes a day. Posting in your customer group, just say, posting in your customer group, just say that it took you 5 minutes a day. Now, I would say you interacting well, I don't want to get off on a tangent. There's some things that do need to be done by you, the interaction in there so you can connect and so forth. But I'm just giving you an example. 5 minutes, it might take you to post something in your customer group. It might take someone else, if you use the 30X rule, you take 5 times 30. It might take her as much as 150 minutes to get good at that, meaning you had her do it and it's like, I didn't so much like that post. Can we tweak it here? I didn't like the words. Can you shift this? I didn't do this. Can you do it this way? So I'm just giving that as an example. You take something that would take you 5 minutes to do. You do it 5 minutes a day, not something you do once, but something you do every day that takes you 5 minutes, or every week and it takes you 5 minutes. The 30X rule says maximum, it might take you 150 minutes for someone to get as excellent as they can be, really good at that. Okay. So if you did it for 5 minutes a day, that would equate to 250. That would equate to 1,250 minutes a year. And so if you look at it as I only spend 5 minutes a day, but if you spent 1,250 minutes doing that a year, if you just did it Monday through Friday, not 7 days a week, if you subtract the 150 minutes from that, you have net 1,100 minutes. Even if you didn't get the numbers, just follow along with me. It's the return. It's the law of accelerating returns, is I think what they call it, is basically at some point it's going to pay you for teaching someone else to do it. So I want you to look at some things that maybe it only takes you 30 minutes to do it. And what we haven't been used to doing or willing to do is to spend a few hours, whatever that would be, teaching someone else. And you don't have to do it the whole time. So let me tell you technically what you can do. My favorite app is called Loom, Loom. So the next time you do something, you record it, because 90% of what we're doing doing it on our phone or our computer or a tablet, right? So Loom, Loom, not Zoom, but Loom with an L, you can record yourself doing it. You can record your screen, you can record your phone. So I record myself doing things. One of the biggest reasons my income went up during this time is I upgraded my assistant. So pick collages. I was like, back in the day, we now do everything in Canva, but I was like, I couldn't get her to get it, right? So I got really good at it. And then I said, you know what, I got to release this. So record yourself on your phone doing it, and you can talk at the same time. So it might take her a long time, but you're not the one who's having to sit there with her. So like scheduling my StreamYard, every Thursday I go live, every Saturday I go live. There's particular ways I wanted it done, blah, 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 blah. I do it one time. I did it 2 or 3 times. I recorded it. I give it to her. It's there. She can watch it over and over and over again. And the biggest thing this has happened for me is it's helped me to get patient that she's not going to get it right. Not the first time. She's not going to get it right the second or third time. She might not get it right the 4th or 5th time. But is this the most significant thing for me to be doing with my time? Can I get an amen? Hallelujah. Like, and by me telling her that I was going to be patient, I was expecting a high level of expectation, but it just happened. And my assistant, I am telling you, she has upgraded in this past year that honestly, she could go work with any executive in any field right now. She is so good, because I was this D personality, not so impatient. Okay, I was a pill. Okay, so it's like, and it's more challenging when everything is virtual. So it's just, I'm like, let me just do this. And so that's just helped me. I don't know how much that helped you, but it's like huge, 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 huge. So, okay, I am going to have so much more I want to share, but let me just say this and let me open it up. I have more I want to revisit because there's some skill stuff I want to share, but I'm at 20 minutes. What can I just open it up to everybody? What have you heard? Because I don't just want to give information. I want this to help transform you. How can this help you be a better you and hit the mark on June 30th?
Caterina, I'm just going to say that one thing I appreciate hearing you is I feel like you are giving us permission to lean in to the virtual world and not sort of feel like we're betraying the Mary Kay way. Those of us who have been in a long time have felt almost like, well, gosh, we've got to get back to doing it the right way because this is not how we were brought up. And I feel that you've really given us permission as it works in our personalities and our lifestyles. And I'm not saying that we all need to just abandon that, but I feel like you've given us permission to lean into this. And I appreciate that very much.
Thank you. Have you guys all seen Jen Bessaker's Facebook party? Okay. Have you seen the director version of it? Her director training part 2? Okay. You did. Some of you did, some of you didn't. If that would be helpful, Jen and I did about a 90-minute training for consultants and for a director when it was just me and her, and I asked her lots of questions. So I've got that on video, which is really, really good. And yeah, it has. A big thing for me is feeling like I had to learn how to do a 15-minute interview, a 10-minute interview, how to do a 20-minute marketing plan. I'm talky, as you can tell. I've never done, I just always have to quit. And so just realizing that in order to penetrate today's woman, her attention span, there's so many things vying for her attention. So excellence requires us, no matter how good the information is, it requires us to reach her. And so when my director started doing these 5-minute appointments early on, and she got a Cadillac as a result of it, I couldn't wrap my mind around how you could connect with a woman in 5 minutes outside of just to book her. And I'm sure all of us now have been exposed to that and seen the possibilities of that. But she literally got her Cadillac holding 5-minute appointments. Yeah. What else did you hear, or a question or a comment from anybody? Just what is your heart telling you, even if it's not about what I said, but it's about, declaration you're making, the direction you're going, affirmation for what you're going to create in these next 3 months.
Caterina,
Yes.
I just want to say, it was so powerful and so on to what God is doing and saying in the earth. And one of the things I've been hearing just over and over for the last probably, I don't know, while, but like I hear it loud now, is the testimonies are powerful. If we cannot, I mean, especially here in Mary Kay, we have so many testimonies that happen, and it's so important that we write them down and that we are sharing them, because it sets people free. And it's even freedom for us to hear it again, because he is the God today, yesterday, and forever. And it does not change. He is consistent in everything he does. And he is calling us daughters to arise and be seated at the table and to do life with him. So thank you and be blessed. You are a blessing, girlfriend. A blessing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Selena. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well,
I will say this.
Go ahead.
I love because of a few new apps to put to work for us, because I think that is just so much part of what we do. So I always love to see what people are using. You have any other examples of what you've taught your assistant in Loom? I feel like I increased so much of my delegation, but I know that I'm not quite there as far. There's too many things that I still probably do. So is it just studying what you do, or are there some more examples of maybe what you taught your assistant to do?
She got really good in Canva.
Okay.
I mean, Canva has been probably the biggest. It saved me probably a couple $1,000s of just what I would have done in graphics, because now we need so many more graphics because everything is virtual, right? So she's got really good, and not just in producing them, but it's just the quality. So that's been a big example. Is that what you're looking for, Roxy, in terms of technology, or?
Well, I do have a graphics girl, and that was probably the best thing I did about 3 months ago to take me off of that screen. Sometimes it's super easy for me, but really I'm not very good at it. And so that was really good. I just wondered if there's anything else that we do that's maybe we're even unconscious about, that as directors that we're doing, that I'm thinking, is there something else I'm missing that I could delegate? So I just wondered if there was any more examples of that.
Yeah, and I'm trying to bring things from my subconscious to my conscious, because this is what I do, is as I think of them, I just have given myself permission to keep that top of mind of, let me think about this, think about what you're doing, Caterina. And is this just because this is the way you've done it all the time? Everything is being reevaluated now. If there ever was a time to reshift, if there ever was a time to say no to something that I've said yes to in the past, now is the time, without permission and explanation. And so I would just encourage you to just look and do an inventory of everything. You don't, of course, there's this balance between, you don't change everything, because now this is championship season, we're on the court 24/7, but that doesn't mean that a couple pivots might not help you to make up for so much time. So does anybody have an example of something that they could bring to the table? So I think those would be two of my biggest examples. It's just a lot of little things that I normally would have done And part of it is me trusting her also, so she can step in and be me when she needs to be me to make some, because, you know, we sit on hold forever, right? So a lot of those things that I just am spending time, she's lifted them. And as she gets good at that, I'm just giving more. As she gets good at that, I'm giving her more and more and more. So I literally am just having to spend time. And I don't even talk, I will say the other thing is Trello. Trello is how I give her her to-do list.
Yeah.
So it's not the only tool, whatever tool it is, but we have been 100% virtual. Probably me moving to Chicago and living in 2 places helped us tremendously because we had to be 100% virtual. So is there anything you do? This is what I would say, Roxy. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for helping me. Is there anything you do that the only way you can do it is being in your house?
Okay.
That's one of the things.
Okay.
And I like putting my hands on stuff first so I can understand it. So when we started doing our sample packets, like I did them in the house, now it's like my other assistant, she's got the hanging thing on her door at her house and it can happen automatically. So some of that stuff we've automatically done where now it's pirate ship and everything. But is there anything that happens that it only can happen in your house? And so there's almost nothing that I have to be in a particular location to do.
Right. Right. Well, I do appreciate all the eliminate, automate, delegate, but the procrastinate to think about it and concentrate. Those are 2 great things to add in there that I think is going to help me think through a little more clearly. So thank you for that.
I think just giving yourself permission, 3 or 4 things that could be lifted, that it's like, I'm spending a lot of time doing this and this will make all the difference. So I just noticed that there were some things that I was doing that required, this is just a really kind of bogus example, but I'm looking at my printer over here and I just noticed there were some things I was doing that had to happen in the house with my taxes and different things, and I was printing it out. So the other day I just said, you know what, my assistant needed to get upgraded. So she lives in Vegas, I'm in California. I bought her a printer because I did the math and I said, by me giving her this better technology, she's going to be able to save me major time. So it was worth the $250 I spent on that. And so we saved a lot of money during this time, but I'm really using it with wisdom. And it might not be one person, but it might be multiple people that you have helping you and supporting you. I just can't tell you how much you can get assistance. If you are doing those Facebook parties, a huge thing is if you're doing the Facebook parties, you're using Post My Party, how much of those party things can be delegated? Because if you help someone become, you know, one of my directors, she's holding 17 or 20 Facebook parties at the same time, doing them Jen Bessiker style. And so it's all those things being mailed and all that. And she's got a 2-year-old and she's doing it all herself. And so I've just challenged her to start recording what she does and slowly training and lifting things so someone else can do it. I mean, someone could get so good that they can be interacting as you, really, almost in some of those Facebook initial things as you're getting the addresses and mailing out. And they don't even have to always say they're you. They can say that you're a team and this is me and my assistant Becky, you know, so to allow you to do it, because the actual event itself of showing up for 30 minutes or 40 minutes is, we could do those all day long, right? It's it's all of the other stuff, as it always was with the party. So more than ever, it is, because we're working virtually, and a lot of it is, the only part that we really have to do is be the person who shows up on the dot. But so much else can happen. So in the time we have left, I just want to encourage you to now see yourself going out. What would it look like if you focused on believing that you could go claim this court of sharing for yourself? Because we're looking for the women that are the superstars. And yes, some of them are in our unit, but the majority of the growth that God has for you this year are women that are not in our organizations yet. I promise you. And the ones that can go find them are us. I'm talking to myself as well. I'm not on target for my gold medal that I'm claiming in March, but I am believing for a gold medal this month. And one person, Carla, God just dropped another name in my spirit. So now I got Tamika and Carla. All right. So sell them on 5 things, y'all. Sell them on dreams. This is obviously, we are talking to them and connecting with them in words and conversation that makes sense. But really what women are looking for is dreams, hope, joy, income, and relationships. Dreams, hope, joy, income, and relationships. People do not have time for more work, but they have time for more joy. So I'm challenging all of us to talk to some of the scary people, the people that we have been afraid to talk to in past seasons that now are really looking like, you want me to go back into the office? I don't think so. Women are willing to make some bold decisions right now. They need money, they need freedom, they need personal growth, and they need a positive environment. And we are here to give it to them. So with these 2 million women that are out of the sales force, and some of them will not go back, we are looking for people that have been strengthened through this struggle. And so this is the time for us to just start conversations. Success lies in conversation. Some people didn't have time a year ago, but they truly see right now, and they have space for more joy. They're willing to make space for a 15-minute conversation with you, where you can show them how they can become a savvy shopper, how this could be their side hustle, or some of them want to be a sexy CEO. Some of them want to make some chump change, and some want to make diva dollars. I loved, I talk very, this has been kind of a serious training, in some ways, even, very somber in some ways, but everything I do, it's always really fun, really upbeat, lots of music, lots of light. They're not making a life or death decision. It's a $30 holla. $30 holla, okay? And it is a decision to come and have some fun with me and see what happens. This might change your life, and you might be here 30 years later, or you might make some extra money for the summer, but come have fun with me. Sometimes in a time of change, the only thing that you can control is change. And so this is the time that everything has changed, and people are willing to, they understand how important it is that their cheese can be moved in a heartbeat, and they want to be more in control. So what would it look like if you decided that you were going to give away $10,000 in product between now and the end of the year? And what that looks like is this, directors, because somebody just said, what? That's 100 appointments. Whether you do Zoom, a Zoom party, Facebook party, live party, however you're doing it, if you personally said, what would it look like if I did 100 of those 1-hour appointments? And sometimes you're only doing 30-minute appointments, some of your appointments. So 100 group appointments where you gave the hostess an opportunity to get $100 in free product. What would that look like if you did that? We've often said that for years, the last 90 days of the seminar year, to go for 100 appointments. But now, with everyone being totally virtual and being so comfortable with Zoom, everyone's interested in it, and some people are starting to do things in person. What if you made a big deal about the fact you were going to give $10,000 in product away? On Jen's director training, she talks about how she literally offers every single hostess $100 in free product for just booking the appointment. because she knows, she doesn't teach that to consultants, but if you see the director portion, she knows that when we get the people together, everything else is up to us and we can make it happen. And I've tested it and it's like, whoa, not every appointment is $1,000, but many of them are 300, 400, and many of them are more than that. So through this, you can teach the product, you can teach the process, and you can teach the presentation, and you can build confidence among all of your consultants and team build at the same time. So y'all dig deep in your customer base and ask some women that can support you in this goal, that can support you in this time and help you with crossing over the line. Some of you on here are strong. Some of you are in a maintenance mode, and some of you are in a position or a season where there's lots of opportunity for growth for you. But every one of you can totally win. It's not just about being crazy busy, y'all, but it is being crazy confident and crazy hungry. We are confident women that are able to do exploits, that are able to do huge things in this time. It always happens big at this time of year. And so I just want to challenge you guys as I close to go out and look for those AWW women, as Gloria calls them, the ambitious working women that are so hungry for more of what we have to offer them in Mary Kay. And you are the one that can deliver to them what they've been praying for. Last night they prayed, and today you could be their answer. I want to thank each of you for inviting me. And one of the things that we always do in our ministry and that I did today is look up the meaning of your names. And so, Amy, your name means beloved. And to me, what that means is that, first of all, just interacting with you, I could see that you are constantly the one who is being love. You are exemplifying love to so many. And I'm sure those of you that know Amy well would agree. Roxy, when I looked at your name, Dawn, and to me, that just means the break of dawn, a fresh day, giving women an opportunity to experience freshness, newness in their life at a time and a season that so many people have felt not as alive as they once felt. Susan, true beauty. It's what we do. We help women feel beautiful on the outside, but there's nothing like helping women to experience true beauty, the beauty on the inside. Tasha, wow. Your name, derivative of Natasha, is Christ's birthday. Wow, what an amazing meaning to your name. Just the essence of the Christ resides right in your name. Mary, of course, I love this name, Mary, which is beloved again. So Amy, your sister. But Mary also means bitter, rebellious, and wished for a child. And sometimes when people hear that, they go, oh my gosh, my name means bitter. What that means is you possess the essence and the ability to root out bitterness in other people's lives and to help the rebellious people that just have been, unsettled, to help them to come into the peace of God. Heather, who I know has touched so much of this also, is an evergreen flowering plant. And so I looked at what that means, and that plant is used in so many ways for medicine. And gosh, we know the importance of medicine in this day, in this time, how it brings so much healing. Nicole, who I understand has been a big part of this also, means people of victory. And that's exactly who all of us are. But in your name, Nicole, is you are the woman who helps to bring victory to so many. And then Narisa, who introduced me, I just wanted to thank you. Make sure you send me those glasses, okay? And I looked up your name, and it means from the sea. From the sea. From the sea comes, the sea gives life. From the sea comes so much of what God gave 70% of the earth to be water as we know it today. And so everything, there's so many good things in the sea, and it's not just what we see, but it's what's happening under the surface. There's so much life under the surface that is just waiting to come to the surface. So I thank you guys. Thanks, Susan, for that. My name means pure. So she typed pure. That's the meaning of my name. I challenge you to understand and know the meaning of your own name, because it gives you insight into the purpose that God has for your life. So I'm looking forward to talking to your Reds. I'll be a party at the evening session, but with directors, I just want you to know the power of you. We have gone through hell and we've come out on the other side. And you are the leaders the world needs. You, not the leader to the left, not the leader to the right. You're more than enough. So go get it, ladies. Let's do this big, wild, and excellent. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Yay. I pray that it was a blessing.